Okay, everything's... Hi, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. I have been taking advantage of the warmer weather and going out and visiting friends more, and yeah, I've just been a little bit, busy and not home to do a recording. But I'm here today. It is the beginning of June, and yeah, welcome. My name is Shannon, and I'm coming to you from northern New Jersey. I have some surprises, I think, and probably one is that this sweater is still not. I think this is exactly the place where it was when you saw me last, but we're going to get into that. At first, we're going to do the whiskey chat, and so yeah, I'm going to let you watch that. If you're not interested in the whiskey chat and want to hear about the knitting and fiber, this is going to be a very yarny. I hope you like yarn, because you're going to see a lot of yarn in this episode. So I'm going to do a whiskey chat, and I'll tell you where to skip to if you don't want to watch the whiskey chat. They run about 10 minutes. I think I have a Scottish whiskey that I'm doing. I'll be filming it later today. I took a look at my stash earlier this week to see. I think I have 2 Scotch whiskeys left in my stash that I haven't talked about. And yeah, a few others. There is an American one. Might do. All right, anyway, go ahead and watch, and I will talk to you when you're back. Hey there. I'm going to do a little whiskey chat with you. I am drinking today a Benromach. I think I'm saying that right. Benromach 10-year. I'm drinking it out of my Simon Pierce whiskey glasses. I love these glasses. I thought I'd just mix it up. Looking at it. It is so bright in here. It is evening. This is my pre-dinner cocktail, but it is still super bright. Gotta love the summer sun. I could live like this all the time with these very late. Anyway, I had never heard of Benromach before, so I thought I would taste this. This is from the whiskey advent that I got in 2021. I have one more Scotch whiskey out of that mix, and then there's just a couple American ones, and then a couple other countries in that mix that, whatever. I'll taste those, or I'll taste gins, or we'll see what happens. But this one, so this is a Speyside region of Scotland whiskey, and Speyside has a multitude of Scotch whiskey distilleries and Scotch whiskey businesses in it. I think it is the most densely populated region of Scotland. So if you want to go to Scotland and taste a lot of different whiskeys, that would be the region I would recommend that you go to. Benromach is pretty interesting. The distillery itself has been in operation for 125 years. The it is family owned and run. The family that owns and runs it now bought it in 1993. They have roots in that distillery back from the beginning. They were I think the original ancestor of this family. That family goes by this name Urquhart, which is a name that I don't know. I don't recognize immediately as Scottish, but if you're from Scotland, or maybe you know a little bit more about their culture, maybe that does sound very Scottish to you. But this man, John Urquhart, worked at the mill, or worked at the distillery, and helped. He was one of those kind of a traveling, a man that would travel around to different distilleries to work, to bottle, to help them put together the tastings and the bottlings. I forget what the name is, the distilling master or something like that, but he would, or the mixer, the person who sort of puts together the tastes, the blends. So he would do blends for other distilleries, but at Benromach he was only doing single Scotch, single malts. Yeah, so I found that pretty interesting. So he brought in other family members to work there as well over time. And, the family, it sounds like, continued to work in some capacity. I'm sure it went dark from time to time. I didn't find a lot about that part of the story. The part of the story that they focused on is from 1993 forward. So I think they started to, since they purchased it in 93, I think they began to produce and sell whiskey in the later part of the 1990s, and they've been in business ever since, creating, in their lineup, they have a 10-year, a 15-year, and a 21-year. I'm sure they do other, like these small boutique distilleries tend to also do small runs that would be difficult to get anywhere but in Scotland or around in that region or directly from them. Like when I went to a couple of distilleries when I was in Scotland a few years ago, we got some very tiny limited run bottles that I wouldn't have been able to buy anywhere else other than the distillery itself. I'm sorry if you hear my cat in the background. He is bugging me because it is his walkabout time. You probably will see some footage, or maybe already saw some footage of him outside, and he just, this is the time that I take him out. But I just told him I had to do this filming really fast, and then we'll go outside. Okay, so let me move on to the tasting. So it's the distillery. I found it very interesting. I'd never heard of them. I think they're quite small. Wow. I could smell this from it sitting over here next to me. It has really just a very fragrant whiskey. I smell like licorice and smoke, peat. And the Speyside aren't really known for being all that peaty. The peatier regions are more north, in the northern part of, and the Isles of Scotland, where you get a lot more peat heavy whiskeys. But yeah, I smell cherry too. There's like berries or cherries, like some red fruits, I would say. There's a lot going on. For a 10-year, wow. It's super smooth though. Some of the more recent whiskeys I've been tasting have you get a little bit of burn, like spiciness in the back of your throat. Not at all with this one. This one's very, very smooth. I taste like cherry pie, but smoky. Like around a campfire. If you were eating cherry pie around a campfire, that would be what this is. I taste the oak too. It is distilled in oak barrels, and it's oak barrels that have either been used for bourbon or for sherry. They didn't share how long this 10-year spends in each of the casks, or if it's just a single cask. I think it's just a single cask because they didn't share that there was a change. So often they'll say like sherry finish or whatever. Some other type of red wine finish, bourbon, or whatever, port finish. It's really, really good. I would definitely buy this. It sells for around $60 here in the US. I think in UK that's about 38 pounds or so. Let's see what the tastings say. So this is from I got this from Peiriera, and they do a really beautiful flavor spiral. So I'll pop a picture on screen. I'm looking at it on my camera right here, on my computer rather, right now. Oh, so tropical fruits, no cherry. Okay. Citrus, sherry. Sherry could give you that berry flavors. A little bit of spice, a little bit of peat, a little bit of smoke, oak, and just a dry finish. That's super interesting. Like it's unique for that. So many of them in with that burn. So they say honey amber in color, an aroma of sherry and Christmas spice with a little bit of water. You get a whiff of peat. And I did put water in. I do put a few drops of water when I pour either whiskey or gin, if I'm tasting either one. A little bit of water really kind of opens up the flavors and helps you taste a little bit more. Raspberries, there's the berry. citrus, tropical fruit with a little bit of smoke on the palate, and then the finish dry and smooth. And then I did pull up one other, I found one other tasting, a formal professional taster who says this about it. Toffee and butterscotch with hints of licorice and green apple. The licorice and green apple continue from the nose and are joined by maltiness, smoke, and spice, cardamom, pepper, and white pepper. The finish is warming. Fruit and spice go slowly dissipating to leave a delightful malty smokiness. Yeah. All right. So there you have it. I hope you get a chance to try a glass of your own, whether it's this or something, different, maybe wine or tea or whatever it is that you are feeling. And I will see you again soon. Hey there, welcome back. I'm kind of hot. It's a very, very warm day. I want to say it's like 82 Fahrenheit outside, and it's afternoon. So in the afternoon, I have west-facing windows. The biggest windows in my apartment are west-facing, so it really gets warm in here in the afternoons. So it's super bright, but also very warm. So yeah, anyway, I might not wear this for long, but I wanted to show you. This is the Daa Cardigan by Isabel Kraemer. I finished it about a week and a half ago, and I just sewed the buttons on this morning. It is knit out of a 12 skein mini skein countdown advent from December 2021 from Grenouille Co, which Grenouille means frog. I may not be saying that with a Frenchy accent, but I put it on screen so you could see it. So you could see what I mean. Yeah, so I had one full skein, and do I have it over here? No, I think it's on the bed over there behind Martha. So yeah, one full skein, 12 mini skeins, and my sleeves are not actually identical. You can see right there the stripes towards the bottom, closer to the cuff. Those two greens are off because I ran out of minis. I made the 4th size, which I think is like a finished measurement of 46 bust. So you can see I have a lot of, my bust is 40, 39 and a half. And yeah, I have lots of extra room in the bust here. So yes, I made size 46, and if I went any bigger, I don't think I would have been able to knit it from just 12 mini skeins. So just note to yourself, if you're thinking about doing this project, if you have a 24 skein mini skein advent that you wanted to use, you would definitely have enough, I think, for the biggest size even. It was really fun. It was very potato chippy, like very much I just wanted to keep going to see what was going to happen with the stripes. I love like her color palette, the color palette she put together. This is like, I didn't do any color management really, other than I kind of tried to do light, dark, but there was one pairing that ended up, I just kind of did random. Like, I don't really like these two next to each other all that well, this gray and this light green, but those were towards the end of the repeat I was doing, so they were the last two. So I wish I kind of thought a little bit about that, and maybe did figured it out before I just started grabbing a skein from the knit bag, but it's fine. I did completely run out of a couple of the colors that I used in the top over here. This blue green is completely gone, and this green right beneath it is completely gone, and some of these others are like almost gone. But yeah, really, really cute. I'll have put pictures. I think I took a flat lay, and then I also did a picture of me wearing it earlier today, but it was super sunny, so I'm not sure it's gonna look all that, like the colors may not look all that great, but you'll get the idea of the silhouette. I I modified anything else, like the length. The only other mod I made was I made really extra long ribbing cuffs. That was simply to conserve yarn, conserve the stripes. So I just knit like 3-inch cuffs to get the sleeve length, to get a long sleeve length. But this is like, I love this so much. I'm going to be wearing the crap out of it this summer and fall. I know it's really fall-like, but it's so versatile. It just goes with everything. And I have a lot of these colors in my wardrobe already that I wear, and it'll just like brighten and pop up my clothes. And it's, you know, I can wear a regular t-shirt like from the Gap, like a $12 t-shirt under this, and look dressed up, immediately dressed up as soon as I put this on. So that's like what I really like about some of the hand knits that I have, like especially cardigans for the summertime. They're really great. I'm just wearing a little knit tank top actually, so let me see if I can manage to keep this on, just because I think it's a nicer visual for you to see a hand knit rather than just a store-bought t-shirt. All right, so do I have any other? I don't have any other finished objects, but I have two whips that are very close to being finished objects. But let's talk about what Martha's wearing first. This is the, oh my goodness, the name of it went right out of my head, the Akemi sweater by, I'm not going to pronounce her name right, so I'm just going to put it on screen, Keiko. I don't remember her last name, Curry something. Anyway, all on screen for you. It was a pattern from Amorusu magazine and from a year or two ago, but I saw it first on Jackie of Caddy Jack's Knit. She made a yellow one. It was really cute, and I put it in my queue at that point, but I didn't make it. What inspired me to make it was Caitlin was making one. Caitlin of Caddy Jack's Knit. She started one. She cast one on a little while ago, and I just was like, okay, I'm gonna knit it along with her. Actually haven't chatted with her about it in a long time because I got stuck on it. I was running out of yarn. So I originally only bought, let me tell you what it is first. It's from Moondrake. It's not their yarn recommended. Durami is the yarn that's recommended for this. It's a DK weight sweater pattern. But I went with this Cormo Sport, a non-superwash 100% Cormo 2-ply. So you get 328 yards out of 100 gram from the company Moondrake. And I don't know why, but I only bought 3 skeins when I first ordered it. And I don't think I knew what I was going to make exactly. I don't remember. Actually, yes, I knew I was going to make this, but in my head, I was thinking fingering weight 3 skeins. That's all I need for a fingering weight project. This is sport weight though. It's, almost 100 yards less per skein. So I very definitely would not have been able to get 2 sleeves out of what's left here. So I ordered another skein. I got to this far and I was like, all right, I'm going to just get another skein. I need to just bite the bullet. And it took about a month for me to get it. So I finally got it. I got it about a week ago. And I just haven't gone ahead and done the sleeves yet because I've been obsessed with a couple other projects that I'm going to show you. I was a little worried about dye lot, but I think these are bang on. Like for an indie dyer, this is excellent. I even took pictures this one looks slightly bluer to me. A little, maybe not as bright as this one, bright light. But I even took a picture and of the two together and changed it to black and white to see if there was contrast, and there really wasn't. So I was gonna do alternating skeins on the sleeves, but I really hate alternating skeins generally, and on the sleeves it's the worst because you're knitting in a small circumference. It's just uncomfortable. So I'm gonna really try. Maybe what I'll do is put this cast on one sleeve with this skein and just see what happens. See if I see a line. And if I see a line, I can quickly frog back a few rows. I'll knit a few rows, frog back, and then start alternating skeins just to kind of break up the, like if there's a hard line. I have a feeling it's going to be okay though, which makes me very happy because like I said, alternating skeins in the round on a small circumference is the pits. Alternating skeins anyway is the pits, but it's really the pits on a small circumference. All right, moving on. I cast on I actually have 3 new cast-ons. So I'm going to go in order of what I cast on. I think, I don't know. I don't think I had this in the last episode at all. This is a superwash version of the daily pullover. So that was, in my last episode, I had finished a daily pullover by Paula Peiriera. You can get the pattern from Purl Soho. You have to pay for it. $7 or so, I want to say, $7. And the yarn is also Purl Soho. So I used linen quill. And I've been wearing the heck out of that sweater. Like, I have just been wearing it. It was up until like about 2 weeks ago when it started to get very warm. I generally wake up in the morning and I keep the house very cool during the night. So when I wake up, it's cool. The house is cool. So I'll grab a sweater and pop it over my pajamas while I get coffee and feed the cat and do all the little things I need to do in the morning. So I was reaching for that over and over because it's got a really fuzzy hand, like the alpaca in it. It's got high alpaca content and that has a really nice hand. But I was super interested in doing a superwash version because I don't even remember, I think I told you last time, 7 or 8 sweater quantities of superwash indie dyed fingering weight. So I thought it might be fun to see how it knits up. So I'm pretty far along. I've already split for the sleeves. I've got the V-neck done. I'm in the land of just mindless knits. Like, this is really great for when I'm grading papers or if I am in a meeting or something like that. I am teaching summer sessions, so there is grading happening every week because our summer sessions are intense. In terms of the condensed, I should say. They're intense for the students. They're not so intense for the faculty, but it's intense for the students. But they're condensed, so there's something to grade about every 3 to 4 days. And yeah, so it's kind of great to have something to just knit away on without having to think about it or look at it. So this is the sweater so far. Isn't that great? Don't you love this yarn? You're probably like, spill the beans. What is it? It's so pretty. I bought this a few years ago from Spun Right Round. And waiting for it to focus, which it isn't. It's the colorway Fierce Poodles. And it's just our usual, I think, classic sock, she calls it. 100% superwash merino, 438 yards, 200 gram skeins. And I am getting to the tail end of the first skein here. So 3 skeins, I bought 3 skeins. It is plenty. I'm not alternating because I can't stand doing that. And I don't think I'm going to need to. There is one skein that is a little bit off. I have it right here. I think this one is a little bit off in terms of the color. Sorry, just need to see what you're seeing. Yeah, I think this one is a little bit whiter. Like this, what's really cool about this, it's a, I think you can see it better on the knit. It's like a blush pink, but it does have, like it has dark and light moments. So there's like light moments like right here, where it's white, and then pink moments like right there. And then there's these hot pink speckles, yellow speckles, and lots of black speckles. It's great. I think this is going to be so fun to wear, you know, on cooler mornings or afternoon or evenings. Like, you know, it's nice, fun summer knit. So yeah, that is this project. Fun, right? So the daily pullover, I really love V-necks. I wear a lot of V-necks, just generally. Like, I buy a lot of shop-bought, store-bought V-necks. So that was fun. Like, doing the daily pullover, that was the first V-neck I remember doing. I may have done some years and years ago that I just don't remember, but that was one that I really, really loved. I love it so much. I have a few others planned. I bought some 100% linen, which you're going to see in my stash acquisitions, from Purl Soho. It is their brand, Field Linen, it's called. And I also, so I'm swatching this. I haven't actually finished the swatch. I did swatch, but I didn't like how it came out. And then I'm also swatching this, which is some cashmere silk lace from Ching that I've had a few years. I have just, this is all I have, these two little skeins. I'm planning to make something for my son's significant other, my one son's partner. They're not married, but they live together, and she's tiny. She is so teeny tiny. She's a petite, extra small petite. That's her size. So I think I'll be fine. This is about 700 yards. It doesn't look like much because it's lace weight, but I think I'm going to try to do a lace weight version of the daily pullover, but in loose, so it's kind of sheer, and I think it'll be really cool. Her birthday's July, so I'm gonna try to get that done soon. Yeah, so I love that pattern. I guess I really love that pattern. I love the way the V works out when you do the trim. So really happy with that. I also cast on, I'll talk about gift knitting. I have also cast on some socks. So I am on route to finishing. I have a half finished object, so I'm on the way to finishing a pair of gift socks. So this is the DRK Everyday Sock pattern, where it's toe up and you knit the entire sock in 2x2 rib. But I have modified the pattern so far for a men's size, shoe size 10, to be a DK weight. So this isn't actually DK weight. This is 2 strands of fingering weight held together, held double to equal DK. This is old stash. I've had this so long. I actually had this for sale for a little while and nobody bought it. So I was looking around, looking at I don't have a lot of DK. I bought some DK recently, earlier this year. I couldn't resist this collection, which you'll see the yarn soon, because after I'm done with these are for a friend of mine whose birthday's in July. Not my son's partner, a different person. So that's what these are for, but after this, I'll be making socks for other people out of the DK weight that I just bought. So I started to think, oh my goodness, I have lots of 2 skein, of fingering weight that I've collected, so I should just hold them together to have DK weight, and then I'll have DK weight for socks. I have a lot more options aside from these 3 or 4 skeins of DK weight that I have right now. I actually think I have 5 skeins. So this is old, as I said, old stash from Stranded Dyeworks. He is a UK indie dyer. And I have not seen this color from him in a long time. It's the colorway Batcave. And this is the cashmere merino MCN, merino cashmere nylon 8-10-10 blend. Years ago, it was called Paradise. That was the base, but now he's changed all of the base names to just what they are. So I think if you wanted this base from Stranded, you would just look for MCN. But yeah, I haven't seen Batcave in quite a while, but I think my friend is really going to love them. If you're curious about the modified instructions, I have put the instructions for the men's size 10 on my project page on Ravelry, which if you click through to the Ravelry linked show notes, you'll then see you'll be able to get over to my profile pretty quickly and see the project. So I don't have so many notes on this one, but if you scroll down a little bit, there were some red socks that I made for Christmas, around Christmas time, for another friend that I have extensive notes. I'm using those notes. I've used those notes to make this pattern, this size. I'll be making a men's size 8.5, I think, and the men's size 12. So I'll be, adjusting what I do for that. And I'm also interested in making a pair for myself. So I'll have my size as well. I'm a woman's size 8, 8.5. I have a narrow foot though, so I end up knitting. This pattern. Like I've already sort of figured out in my head what I need to do to modify for me. So yeah, this is where I'm at with the second sock, and I'm on the I'm starting that instep shaping. So I'm above where this tab is, this little marker is. I'm somewhere like up here or so. What I've done, like I do when I knit these, I put on the first sock I knit, I put a stitch marker where I start the increases, so then I can easily figure out, getting the length correct. And then I put a marker where I am just knitting in the round again, where I'm no longer doing the heel. And then I put a stitch marker again, because I knit the last inch with a one size down needle, so just to give a little snugness to the fit on the ankle. So that's this pattern. I would have had these done, except that the last 2 weekends I spent with the person who I'm gifting these to, and so I could not take them. I knew he would ask, what are you knitting, and what are those, and who are they for? So I just didn't take them. But they'll be done soon, because these knit up so fast. I love how fast the DK socks knit. Oh my gosh. Wow. Love it, love it, love it. I'm knitting, if you're wondering, I'm knitting on size 2.5, US size 2.5, which is a 3mm, to get the right consistency. But I just love them. I love the way they feel. I love the way they knit. What I really love about this pattern is, when I'm doing a regular heel flap sock, I just lose steam. I get to the flap, whether I'm knitting toe up or ankle down, I get to the flap and I stop. And that just stalls me. I'm not sure why. Where this making these heels, you're just increasing every other row for a while, and then you build the heel in a similar way to how you build a heel on a heel flap. So it's really cool. It's very smooth. I don't have to look at the instructions, and I can just knit like when, I can take this with me to a restaurant or wherever, out with friends, and just, knit away without thinking. So it's really, really great. All right, what else do I have? That one I showed you. Oh, update on my pure mesh. I really haven't made much progress on this. At first I thought I was stalled because I wasn't sure I would have enough yarn. And now I'm far enough along that I'm pretty sure I have enough yarn. One skein seems to be enough. This is old Knitting Fever lace, superfine merino and cashmere lace weight. It's discontinued. So yeah, I don't know. I think I've spoke about this before. Like right now I'm about halfway done with the front or the back, one or the other. I think they're knit the same. And I'm knitting it on smaller needles than what the pattern calls for, because I wanted a less holy knit, because I'm just worried that I'm going to slip off, then it's just going to be a nightmare. So that's what it looks like. And the pattern calls for a lace weight. And I did a ribbing bottom. The pattern doesn't call for a ribbing bottom, but I kind of wanted one because I'm sort of planning it to be a pattern that just goes down to my waist and then comes up, that I could layer under things, like under a jumper, like sleeveless dress or something like that, like just as a layering piece, either over or under things. And so I want it to be kind of short, but also long sleeved. The problem is that this mesh, in order to knit it, I have to look at my hands. I need to watch what I'm doing because it's slippery, it's big needles. So I don't find it all that enjoyable. I have other things that I've been, this would be like what I would consider a concentration knit. Then I have other things that are concentration knits, like this one, and a couple other things that I've been working on that I just am like, But I actually thought after it languished for a couple weeks, I was like, maybe I should just frog it and start over. And also, wait, so last time I told you I ordered more yarn because I was worried that I was going to run out. So I didn't order more yarn. I found someone destashing. I found a bunch of people destashing, and I reached out to this one woman and asked her if because she had it for sale. And so I asked her if she would ship it to me or could I buy it from her. And so she sweetly said yes. I paid her. She sent it out the next day. The color, it's my own fault. It looked black, and when I looked at the listing, she had listed it as black, but it was a really, really deep dark navy. So now I have two skeins of this, one navy, one black. So again, I'm just like, oh gosh. I mean, I should, I don't know. It's fine. I'm going to finish this, and then I may end up just gifting it to, a niece or who knows, someone else. I'm just not sure it's gonna be for me necessarily. Like, I don't know that I'm gonna love wearing it. And I've really struggled knitting it, so I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, I just zipped my yarn. Don't you hate when you do that? Okay, that's a problem to solve another time. Oh my gosh, I might actually have to break it. Okay, one last project. This I have been obsessed with. Completely obsessed with. If you follow me on Instagram, this will not be a surprise, but I have been working away on a really fun rainbow hoodie for my granddaughter. This is, so I'm pretty far along. I just have to do the sleeves, and then you do a casing for the hood and a drawstring. So yeah, I'm going to knit the sleeves first because I don't think it matters what color the casing ends up being, and I kind of wanted the colors to make sense for the hood and the body. But is this not the best? So if you have been here since Vlogmas this year, this will be familiar, this yarn. I made this rainbow yarn from an 8-day advent I got from Green Goat Ranch. And what I did was I opened one bag. Since it was only 8 days, I kind of spread them out between December 1st and December 25th. So I just kind of figured out, I had a bunch of advents last year. This year I won't have so many, just because I'm trying to keep my stash down. I plan to end this year with less stash than I began it with. And so far so good. I'm doing really well. So yeah, I just figured out 8 random days, and I opened a bag, and then I would spin it. And I figured out that I wanted to do 4 skeins of 2-ply, and that I was going to ply them together, in order. So I was going to go in the order in which I opened the packages, so the order in which Sarah numbered them. And then I knew they were all bright colors. I didn't know if it was going to be a rainbow, but I knew they would be bright colors. So I just planned to do 8 bobbins of each color, and then so I just took each 20 or 25 gram mini bats that I got, and I divided it into 8, and then just spun like by weight, and then just spun one after the other. And then, went on to the next few days later, opened another one, did the same thing, and so forth, so on and so forth. And that's how I ended up with this, so those gorgeous transitions you're seeing. So the red had bright pink in it, and then here, this is a transition to the orange, and then the orange had yellow in it, and then this is a transition to the green, and then the green had blue in it, and then this is the transition, and so on and so on. And then there was a purple with pink, and then a tealy green with blue, and then finally a yellow, and then it ended with a red that had a lot of orange in it, which I didn't end up using, so that's what's left of the first skein. Then I opened a second skein, and that's what you're seeing here. So there's where you could see I'm in the blue right now. The purple is here, then the blue, green, yellow, and then the red is in there too. So after I knit the entire body from the red down, top down, then I did the hood up, so red up, and I only used up through green. I wanted it to be that way so when it was sitting back, it would match. So you could see this is the back, how it matches. It matches the stripes. And then this sleeve is going to look, it's going to make sense. It's going to follow the striping pattern. This sleeve, who knows? Actually, this sleeve could end up being it probably will end by the time I hit the purple. So this sleeve will probably be purple through teal and maybe a dab of the yellow. And then I'll just use whatever's left for the trim. So this may end up being yellow to red here, and then the drawstring. Actually, you knit the trim this way. So off of it this way, you cast on all the way around and make a casing, and then it tucks under. So it may end up being all the same color. It might not all end up being yellow, probably, which I think will be cute. That yellow's pretty bright. It has a lot of green in it. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, so I'm obsessed. I cast this on 3 days ago. This is how much knitting I've done on it. It's the only thing I've knit on for the last 3 days. But I just love it. I'm seeing them in a couple weeks, so I should have it finished. But I think I'll be seeing you again before I see them. So you should see this finished next, when I next sit down to record. But yeah, really, really love it. The yarn is super squishy and fun, and it is 100% Rambouillet. And Sarah does do, if you're a hand spinner, she is doing fiber advents. She just released some summer countdown calendars, and she's doing more towards the end of summer for the fall. So yeah, if you're into that. All right, I have a ton of spinning, and I just have been spinning like crazy. So I took my spinning wheel with me to my friend's house last weekend. The weekend before I didn't take it because we were I thought we were going to be really busy doing some stuff, but we ended up doing other things, and I probably could have brought it, but it worked out. It's fine. But I think I have footage too talking about this project. I should check before I get too in the weeds. Well, you know what? I'm going to film this and then I'll edit. So I finished the third skein. I shouldn't say the last because there were supposed to be 4 skeins, but this was the countdown calendar that I did for my birthday, counting down to my birthday. A fiber calendar that was based on Outlander. The colors were pretty, they weren't as coordinated as what I'm wearing, or as Sarah's were all kind of this thematic bright color. These were kind of all over the place. They seemed pretty autumnal. There was a group of colors that were really red heavy. So I put those aside and put them with my tonal spin, which you're going to see next. So this was the last. I've been working on this for a few weeks before my last episode, and I finally finished it. I really, really love it. It reminds me of a blue flannel shirt, like a men's shirt. Like my father would wear these blue flannel shirts all the time, and it just really, really reminds me of that. It's so pretty. So just so you can see all the colors together, these were the 3 skeins that I did from that Advent. And then there were some red ones that I put aside and mixed in with the tonal spin that I'm doing now. So I think I've talked about this before. I have a tonal, sorry about the crinkling, I'm like doing this right in front of the mic. I'm just gonna put those down. I think I talked about this before. I had a whole bunch of Advents from previous years of fiber countdowns. I had a 24-day, I had a 12-day that I had from 2021, a 24-day from 2020. And then I had some bibs and bobs of fiber from other things that I really didn't have any like inclination to do them alone because they were just too small amounts. I didn't want to do a bunch of mini skeins, so I decided to just group everything by color and then do a bunch of tonal skeins. And I ended up with about over 1,000 grams of fiber. So I just been working my way through it, going through the color, like not really going through the rainbow completely, but kind of jumping around. I started off with some warm tones and then went to some cool tones. But here's what I have so far. I just want to do a very quick little segment here to show you my next spin. I just was wanting something really fun and bright, so I chose the pink bag, and I've divided the pink like 20 grams or so braids and bunches of wool that I have from various places, and I divided them into 2 equal amounts. I was aiming for, out of that tonal skeins, where I think I'm going to get about 9 or 10 skeins, I was aiming to make 100-gram skeins. Sorry, my pillow's in the way. I hope that's not distracting. It's in the screen, in the shot. So yeah, in this case, it's going to be about 124 grams. So there's about 62 grams in here and about 62 grams here. Yeah, so this will be one bobbin. This will be the other. And we'll see what happens. They're pretty close. I mean, so it should be a pretty nice tonal. This one has some deeper purple in it. I tried to divide up. There was a lot of this light pink, so I tried to divide that between the 2 bags so that it wasn't barber pulling too much. So yeah, fun. Quick little update to my spin. These are the 2 pink bobbins that I'll be making into a 2-ply. So this is how they spun up. This one has a lot of this deep plum, and this one has some like neon-y pink in there. But a lot of the fiber, that the way I sorted it, there's a little of some of this, some of that kind of thing on each of the bobbins. So I will let you know. There is a tiny bit of sparkle in there, which I think you can see. And then I have prepped for, sorry, I have bags that have stickers on them. This will be a gold one, which I think you can see more there. That one bobbin will have some black or brown in it, and the other bobbin will have more pops of yellow. I think this will be pretty. So that'll be another one. And then another one that I've prepped is like corals and peach, with one of the bobbins having more yellow and the other one being a little more pink. So that'll be fun. And then the rest of it, I haven't prepped yet. But just to give you an idea of this tonal spin, it's quite big. I think I showed you this before, but maybe in a previous episode. But so I have turquoise. I have these are the reds from the Pullover spin. I'm just gonna make them a tonal. And this, I threw them into this tonal bag. I have greens. This might end up being 2 skeins. Orange. And like, I don't know, plum, I guess. do have a bright purple bag as well. So I might have to kind of play around. There may be a different skein. There may be another more muted, like maybe this with this. I don't know. Anyway, that's what I'm up to spinning wise. I will show you what happens next. I told you I did a lot of spinning. So I finished that one, and then I did these 5. We'll look at them one by one. This was the first one I did, this really bright. They're all 2-ply, by the way, so just 2 bobbins, 2 plies, and they're all around 100 grams. The way my spinning wheel works, my small bobbins, these small bobbins, this is my half spin, this turquoise. These hold about 50 grams, and then my big bobbins hold about 100 grams. I can push it to get like up to 120 grams. It doesn't matter the thickness. That's all the volume that it can hold. So yeah, and these I can push to be about 60, but they're really, really overloaded. So that's about it. So I always aim for 100 grams, which is a good knittable amount anyway. It's commercial weight, so it's kind of like, it's easy for me to calculate like, oh, okay, it's 100 grams. This is how many of those skeins I'll need to make this project. So yeah, this is I think this is about 115 grams or so, but these were just a whole bunch of tonal, bright pinks, hot pinks that I put together. And there's a few different, wool types in there too. There are definitely multiple wool types. This one has a lot of merino in it, and, I think there's a touch of sparkle in there. The second one I did was this pale pink, which has also some peach and yellow in there. Really, really cute. Also really big fat skein. This was one of the bigger skeins. This was one of the smaller ones. This reminded me of overripe bananas because it's got like the yellow, like with brown speckles. This was a little bit harsher. This had a couple skeins or a couple fiber bits of Canadian wool. It just said Canadian wool. It didn't say what wool, what type. So they were a little on the rough side, but it actually feels pretty good right now. But this I would say is a little bit more rustic of a skein, and it's also smaller. This is around an 80 gram skein. This is another small skein. This is tones of blue, so like there was a little bit of purple in it, but it is mostly blue. And also I can see on screen that my plying was a little inconsistent. I might have been tired because my plying looks a little loose there at times. Also some sparkle in there. And then this is the most recent one. This had a lot of this like mauve. It's really a mauve colored skein, but it has some orangey gold in there too. That was about half of this was from the Polworth silk that I used for the other spin that I just showed you. That was one of the reds that was left. That yeah, I just decided to throw those bunches. I had enough for a full like 100 grams, but I ended up 100 gram skein from the Outlander countdown. I just divided it. There was some blue that went into this skein, and then there was some red, bright red, and then this color. So I just kind of broke it up and to use for these tonal spins. So yeah, I spun 5 spun a lot. I spun 5 skeins. I have a half of one. I did 3 of those last weekend at my friend's house. I just like cranked through them, and I ended up like when I take my spinning wheel folds, and I have a carrying bag for it. And when I do that, when I take it with me to people's houses, or or if I'm visiting somewhere or I'm traveling, I just bring the bobbins, and then I don't wind off any yarn until I get home. So I ended up like having a whole bunch of yarn to wind off when I got home. It was really great. It was really, really awesome. So yeah, that is my spin. So, and like I said, I've been working on a turquoise one, so you could kind of see how this is the way I prep the fiber. Kind of trying to. So I think there's 5 different fibers in this, and what I do is just kind of go in a random order, alternating between them. And there is a really bright turquoise that goes in here, and there's also kind of this dull gray. There's a dull gray in there, so I try to break those apart so I don't have long stretches of either one of those. But yeah, so I'm about halfway done. I think I have another 5 or so skeins left to do, and then that will be done, and all of those bits and bobs of Advents past will be put away. And I am getting an Advent, 1 fiber Advent. I've ordered 1 fiber Advent so far, which I talked about before. It's a 12-day, it's Polworth silk, and it is, or maybe it's just Polworth, and it has a theme. So that means it's meant to go together. So it'll be more thematic, like kind of like the baby sweater that I'm doing. So that's what I realized I'm interested in. I'm not interested in this hodgepodge of bits of this, bits of that, bits of this, bits of that, because what do you do with it? Like, you just end up doing these, which these are pretty and all, but I'm going to have about 12 skeins of tonal yarns like that are pretty much going to be the rainbow. Oh, there's purple. There's a purple one. These are pretty much going to be the rainbow, and I'll, and then what? Single skeins are kind of, what do you do with a single skein? How many hats can you make? I did some filming. I got a bunch of stash recently. I got a bunch of stash the past, like this linen, and then this was on sale. So there were a few sales that came up that I couldn't resist. So one of the sales was a Spin Cycle sale. There was a Purl Soho. This was 30% off. And then there was Ching Fiber had a birthday sale, like 30% off. I filmed some unwrapping, and I just showed all of that together. So I'm going to just have you watch that clip. I think it's about 5 minutes. And then you'll come back here and we'll wrap it up. I did a little shopping. I know I'm doing stash down, having a low buy year. And so far, even including everything that you're about to see, this is about, I've still purchased about 5,000 yards. So I'm doing really, really well, considering the last few years I've been purchasing somewhere around 20. So 5,000 including my Advents. So I'm doing really well. But there were a couple sales that I couldn't resist. So Spin Cycle was one. I just got this today, but over the past week, I got a couple other things that were also on sale. So let me show you these first. I bought from Purl Soho. They had a 20% off sale, 20% off all of their line yarn. So I bought their field linen. It's 100% linen. Can I tell you about the 295 yards, 100 gram skeins? I've bought 4 in this beautiful black. One is caked already, so I can go ahead and swatch. I have not knit with linen in such a long time, but I thought it would be really nice to have a linen tunic style sweater. So yeah, I'm gonna swatch, and I may not have this year. I thought it would be good for summer, but this might not be something that I finish this summer. Really depends. I also shopped Ching Fibers, 20 and then 30% off sale that she had a couple weeks ago. She was doing a clear out. And this is some of the Baby Suri, her melted Baby Suri blend, which is 50% Baby Suri, 65% Baby Suri, 20% Superwash Merino, and 15% silk, 191 yards, and 50 gram skeins. So this is for a Saucy Suri bomber jacket, which I have talked about in the past. It is my own pattern. I designed it a couple years ago, pre-pandemic. And I actually knit 2. I knit one as a prototype and then one along with my test knitters. And yeah, it's a pale buff colored one. It really looks terrible on me. It's like a bad color for me, I realized. So I thought I would make one in colors that are a little more, you know, a little brighter, a little peppier, maybe make me not look so washed out and tired. So yeah, that's what the plan is for these. For my size, it's a 4 skein project. I think it's 4 skeins for half the range, and the other second half of the range might be 5 skeins. Yeah, so it's pretty good, pretty affordable. All right, let's get to the spin cycle. So this was their second sale, where they you picked a mystery bag and they put together 5 skein packages, which could be any of their line, or 3 skeins of their Metamorphosis. It was a really good value. Let's see what I got. I just opened it and took a peek in. Oh my gosh, look at these. So beautiful. And I bought two bags. And here is the second one. So actually, these do kind of go together. I could create a big, huge fade. I think I have some mixed weights in here, though. These all look like dyed in the wool. That looks like Dream State. And same thing here. I think 1 Dream State, maybe 2. And then that's definitely dyed in wool. Actually, the rest of these might be Dream State. I'm going to unpack them. And okay, I'm so happy I got 2 bags, because what I ended up with was 5 skeins of dyed in the wool and 5 skeins of Dream State. And they are seconds, which means there might be periodic knots and things like this like slubby section, which you can either cut out or just knit with. But they're perfectly knittable. So yeah, I ended up with 2 skeins of Bright Idea, 2 skeins of Miss Me. So these are both the same colorway. 1 skein of Rosy Maple. And dyed in the wool, 1 skein of Cold Comfort, 1 skein of Deep Bump, which I have this. I've knit with it. I think I have a Dream State though. 1 skein of Sugar High, which I have a skein of this already, so that's great. Ghost Ranch, which is a color I've loved for a long time, and a second skein of Ghost Ranch. So I did pretty good. I think, you know, these 3 could easily go together. And certainly, like, I could do something with this group, you know, as a whole, if I wanted. Though these are 150 skeins each, so it's only 750 yards, so it's not a lot. It's not enough to make a full sweater, but maybe with something else, maybe with some of the leftovers of other Dream State I have, or maybe some of my hand spun, something like that. For my dyed in the wool, I have 2 sweaters planned where I'm planning to do some sort of gradient, and my hope was with the mystery bag that I might get some skeins that would let me play around with that gradient, those 2 gradients a little bit more smoothly, so that they weren't, you know, getting chopped up too much. And I think that this is giving me exactly that. But I'll get more into the ins and outs of those projects when I get ready to work on those projects. So that'll be coming up, you know, probably midsummer or so. Anyway, just wanted to share my purchases with you. I am so happy. It's like Christmas for me. I'm so happy. This is like the first yarn I've got all year. Okay, I hope you enjoyed. Yeah, so I am still doing really well. I can't remember if I said it in that clip, but I'm still below. I'm around 5,000 yards. I keep track of my usage, my yarn usage by the yard. So I knit last year about 30,000 yards. I spun about 10,000, and I think I bought about 20,000 yards. So I ended up flat. This year I'm trying to bring my stash down. So I'm spinning a lot though. So we'll see. I don't know if like the spin, but in terms of purchasing, so none of this fiber was purchased this year at all. So in terms of purchasing, I'm trying to keep that part down. But sometimes, I get weak, and that's why I said it's a low buy, not a no buy, because no buy I would have a really hard time doing a no buy. The only person who I know who's done a successful no buy is the Yarn Hoarder. I think she's been a no buy for a couple years now, because she had so much. Her stash would fill this room. This is a big room. My stash isn't that big. I showed you it recently. You saw a bunch of it. But anyway, yeah, so I just bought a few things. But I feel good now. I feel like that scratched that itch, and I should be okay. I should be able to make it through, at least to Rhinebeck. I don't know if I'm going to. I may end up buying just fleece at Rhinebeck, and not yarn, but we'll see. See how I feel when I get there. That's a ways away still. I am going to wrap it up and end this episode. I talked fast, I guess. It's not as long as I thought it would be. I thought it would be really, really long. But I would normally do another, one last segment here. I'm just not prepped for it. Like I said, I am teaching summer, and I just haven't had the time. I've been just doing a lot of things. So I will, it'll come back. I'll be doing it again. I'll be, adding other things towards the end here, in the future. We'll just see what happens. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed checking out what I've been knitting and what I've been making and catching up with me. And I hope you are also doing well. And I hope your knitting and yarn and fiber is bringing you joy. And I will see you again really soon. Bye.